Merola, an astrological portrait. By Ciro Discepolo, Merola was 16 and his Rosina only 14. One day, on the crumbling stairs of one of those many decaying buildings that house the poor of Naples, the future singer pulled out a wooden toy gun. Mimicking a threat, he told the girl, "I'm kidnapping you." Rosina replied, "No, I will come with you, only when you can marry me at the Church of the Carmine, and I can wear a white dress." It was already a sceneggiata. The precursors of Merola's destiny were already evident in his youth. This is a crucial point to consider. Independent of astrology, the future of a man or a woman can often be read in certain premonitory signs of their past. Basic inclinations are already written into one's DNA, manifesting themselves whenever the right opportunity arises. A child who enchants his peers by singing is a potential singer, just as a boy who vivisects lizards is a budding surgeon, albeit a needlessly cruel one. The hallmarks of the sceneggiata were present in the young Merola from the start. Nor were the key elements of this popular Neapolitan melodic tragedy missing. Hunger, so much hunger, a city and a country destroyed by a terrible war, a father in prison and a brother killed while attempting to rob a car. Merola was already a protagonist by the age of 10 or 12. He wandered among the tent cities of the liberating U.S. Armed Forces stealing cans of meat. He even knew the reformatory. He was arrested once for stealing a fennel bulb, the kind you eat. He was careful to specify. Merola worked 100 jobs, mostly humble, but always with a great passion for singing in his heart. His last manual labor before his artistic success was as a longshoreman at the port of Naples. Hard work for strong men, and a strong man he truly is. His Mars, conjunct the Sun in Aries, located at the western angle of his birth chart, encapsulates an exceptional strength. This, combined with his primary dominant Jupiter at the ascendant, explains his imposing stature and the fighter-like features that distinguish him. Yet everyone says he is a pasta d'uomo, a gentle giant, and it is true in the sense that great energy, when channeled well, becomes generosity. Generosity, I am convinced, is a sentiment that only those capable of offering it can afford. Try finding a man depleted by frustrating birth aspects who is truly generous. To have a very strong Mars, as in this case, means being powerful and therefore either aggressive, be violent, or generous. If our subject had not possessed a great voice, I believe he might have ended up caught in the multi-branched web of the Neapolitan underworld cigarette smuggling or the Camorra. His voice saved him and enriched him in every sense. From an astrological perspective, I struggled to find a definitive explanation for his singing career. Singing is one of those activities that frequently eludes me during the analysis of a birth chart. Yes, one can find some footholds, but nothing entirely convincing. On the other hand, it would be a mistake to assume the astrological field has been fully explored. To do so would be to prove Giorgio Buonvino right, when in these very pages he said of us, "It would be useless to explain to a person born blind what the sun is. They will never understand it." The worst thing, however, is to believe one can see even when blind through the eyes of presumption and arrogance. We astrologers more humbly try to understand the mysteries that surround us. Among these is certainly professional orientation, read through an astrological lens. In this regard, what Barbeau wrote in his text dedicated to the subject is exemplary. As Sandro Belenghi rightly noted in his review in Ciro, we cannot declare you will have a specific profession, but rather within your profession you will choose this role. This brings us back to our case. Mario Merola, with Mars as his third dominant, practices a kind of sport while singing. He burns energy and loses weight while modulating notes. He clenches his fists while throwing his arms wide. He furrows his brow and sometimes weeps. He pierces the air with his high notes, suffering and sweating as if in a struggle. Adding color to the contours of his profession is his second dominant, Pluto. Is it a coincidence that Merola's genre is that of the underworld, of crime news, of knives and betrayals, of crimes of honor and villains? Malamonte? Evidently not, at least for those who do not wish to be blind. While the singer, born in Naples on April 6, 1934 at 7 p.m., occasionally expresses himself through the sentimental genre, his professional matrix is that of the human dramas of the poor people in the alleys of Naples. These characters often lead existences on the edge of the law, where life is a pantomime of archetypal situations cut with a knife, where the bad guys are ugly and evil, and the good guys are truly good pure as a white sheet. Merola embodied these realities perfectly. Consequently, audiences participate in his performances by identifying with the characters, vividly taking part in the events of the sceneggiata, crying, laughing, suffering, and sometimes even threatening the villains. One day in the streets of Naples, while Merola was filming a scene in which he was stabbed, passers-by took the scene for reality and chased the assassin, shouting, "Rip that coward apart! He stabbed Merola." Pluto, which astrologically relates to violence, delinquency, and crime news, manifested in the subject's life even more significantly through actual rifle shots fired at his villa in Portici intimidation attempts by Camorristi seeking protection money. It will be remembered that the singer was questioned by a judge regarding alleged ties to the underworld, but nothing was ever proven against him. Then there is the other dominant, the first in order of importance, Jupiter. In addition to justifying his imposing physique, Jupiter marks his success and his fortune. To escape the confines of poverty and hunger, a beautiful voice is not enough. One must also be protected by Lady Luck. How many talented artists have remained in the shadows their whole lives? Perhaps like those famous Neapolitan street singers, posteggiatori, who tour the seaside restaurants at night, playing for spare change. In Merola's birth chart, there are several dominants, including Uranus as the descendant. I do not wish to play the role of Cassandra, but it seems to me that this aspect has not yet fully expressed itself. What has worked perfectly so far is Saturn, which, stationed in the fourth house, highlights how much the family, both his family of origin and his later family, has weighed heavily on the Neapolitan artist. I mentioned his father in prison and his brother killed during a theft. Later, Merola took on painful responsibilities, welcoming family members struck by fate into his home, such as his widowed brother-in-law and his 3 children. On her deathbed, the man's wife implored, "Maritiello, you take care of them." And take care of them he did. So today, instead of 3 children, he has 6. In his horoscope, however, children represent joy and happiness, symbolized by Venus in the 5th house. This same Venus makes him sensitive to women. To a reporter who once asked him, "What would you choose between a plate of spaghetti and a beautiful woman?" Mario replied, "The spaghetti naturally, and immediately after the beautiful woman too." Returning to the Sun-Mars conjunction in Aries, we see it is also an index of the conflict in his work, a conflict generated by critics who turn up their noses at his overly popular culture. Someone once mercilessly placed him before the cameras, alongside representatives of the other Naples, the cultured one, represented by the likes of Luigi Compagnone, Domenico Rea, and others. The result was as expected, but Merola won the people over with his Aryan simplicity. I cannot compete with these learned men. I don't know how to speak. I express myself with feelings. And the people understand him well. In this post-1968 Italy, which has embraced the philosophy of good feelings seen in films like Comensini's Cuore or E.T., there is still room for the good Merola. From Naples to Milan, from Turin to New York, he still fills theaters today. He sings the verses of Libero Bovio. You know your mother is dying and she calls for you. Who am I? You look at me? I am the father, and you cannot throw me out. I'm a worker, and I eat bread and more bread. If I till the earth, that brings you honor. Get on your knees and kiss these hands. The curtain falls amidst tears and applause, but only for tonight. Tomorrow there will be a new success. Under Vesuvius, the emblem of his martial nature, there lives another Naples, the one of Salvatore Piscicelli, a metropolitan blues sung to rock rhythms by Tony Esposito, or Pino Daniele. That is the Naples of urban decay, drugs, and melancholy suburbs. Merola's Naples is still the old one. It is the Italian style of Lacrime Napolitane, published in the 1980s.